Human resource data is an important component of any organization. When managed correctly, human resource data can greatly affect the success of business goals, as well as the productivity of the organization. Human Resource Information Systems, HRIS, are software solutions for managing and processing an organization's employee data, as well as related human resource policies and procedures. Some of the types of data and processes HRMS and HRIS handle are staffing, accounting, promotion, benefits, compensation, and employee history. They are borderless, and providers make them available for companies globally. HRMS captures and records data from different sources. They can come from HR staff, employees, applicants, government databases, third-party companies, such as companies specializing in background checks, and even health providers, managers, recruiters, accounting staff. All of these add data to an HRMS or an HRIS. HRMS can involve many stakeholders. Since HRMS manages staffing and is a tool to ensure the productivity and happiness of all employees in the organization, it affects all levels of the company, from IT staff to even customers. The most important stakeholder, however, is the data subject. HR data is extremely valuable because it carries both personal and company data. Statistics in 2020 say that employers don't do enough to ensure the safety of employee data. Non-compliance with HR data security policy and data breaches are also an ongoing problem. Businesses and organizations all strive to ensure that HRMS, HRIS don't cause workplace and privacy problems. Two HR data breaches that made the news across the IT industry are the breaches in Shiseido's employee databases and the Kronos ransomware incident. This UML diagram shows the depth and complexity of employee data that HRMS and HRIS applications store, process, transfer, and move. There are delicate pieces of information, which include payroll records and details that can identify a person directly. All of the data can be misused by an attacker for personal gain or for damaging a company or specific person. Regardless of the type of application, data systems are governed by laws related to data management information. HRMS, which deal with employee data, are required to follow GDPR and UK's data privacy laws. Moreover, organizations should strive to adhere to ISO standards, such as those described by ISO for records management and ISO information security management systems. GDPR has several requirements, but those that are specific to HRMS are transparency, access, rectification, and the control of automated decision-making systems. The consequences for HR systems that don't follow GDPR can range from immense fines to irrecoverable damage to business reputation. The UK Data Privacy Act reflects many of the requirements of the GDPR, including access to personal data, the promise of data erasure, and support for stopping and restricting the processing of data. Despite the complexity of today's HRMS HRIS, they are still at its core record-keeping systems. So ARMA's generally accepted record-keeping principles still apply. Accountability, transparency, integrity, and retention are the ARMA requirements that best apply to HRMS. Accountability means having a person or team directly responsible for the qualities of HR data, while integrity demands regular auditing of data assets. A proper data disposal schedule is also essential in HR. Best practices and recommendations. The presence of roles such as the following: Data Protection Officer, Privacy Officer, Chief Ethics and Compliance Officer. Number 2. The managers and human resources staff understand how the privacy obligations apply to workplace issues. Employees understand these obligations both in relation to third parties and, where applicable, to fellow employees. Number 3. Employees are provided with appropriate training and a policy framework to address the potential misuse of technology and social media. Number 4. Allow access to documents and records into cloud or networks only when necessary. Limit the time for retention or filter data based on litigation risk. Number 5. Data dictionaries, data sources, and stakeholders are regularly audited and assessed. As Ebert Woodhaber and Adams Praso J. wrote, a broader approach to privacy in the workplace is necessary. A human rights-based approach should be emphasized where the data subject is not in a passive role. Number 2. Legislation such as the GDPR and UK Privacy Act provide a general guide to the prevention, mitigation, and remediation of negative impacts on human rights. They apply to all systems in the workplace, including HRMS and HRIS. Records management policies should exist in all companies and should be enforced. They should answer questions such as who decides what gets managed, an overview of the data dictionary, and the necessity of the data. They should also define the timelines involving when data are kept, purged, and changed. HRMS and HRIS have a considerable amount of valuable data. Their value as a records-keeping system in an organization and the consequences of a poorly set up system should not be ignored. There is a myriad of privacy and human rights issues involved in the implementation of HRMS and HRIS in any public or private organization.